Amidst the thick coverage of trees and variety of foliage, the forest is working hard to better the health of the planet and all its creatures. Sustainable Goal 15 looks at protecting, restoring and promoting sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably managing forests, combat desertification, halt and reverse land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss.
What is deforestation? Deforestation is the process whereby natural forests are cleared through logging and burning, either to use the growing woods or to replace the area for alternative uses.
Loss of vegetations can cause climate change, desertification, soil erosion, fewer crops, flooding, increased greenhouse gases, and a range of problems for Indigenous communities. Deforestation has been happening for thousands of years since humans evolved from hunters and gatherers into agricultural societies.
Forests are an important source of oxygen, absorbing the carbon dioxide that we emit and turning it into clean air for us to breathe. Depending on the species, one single tree can produce enough oxygen for 2 to 10 people in one day. Forests trap toxic greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide.
According to the World Bank, the world is made up of 30.6% forest land. Due to deforestation, this has slowly declined from 31.6% since 1990. In 2017, the first UN Strategic Plan for Forests saw countries undertake a plan to expand the world's forests by 120 hectares, approximately the same size as South Africa. Australia is 17th in the world's most mega-diverse countries, but is under threat due to climate change, habitat fragmentation, land use change, degradation, and invasive species. Australia has existed for thousands of years in geographic isolation. Because of that and its unique environment and climate, it is home to a number of different flora and fauna, not found anywhere else in the world. Due to habitat loss, 1,700 species and ecological communities are now under threat or at risk of extinction.
It's just shocking when you start to learn about the Australian environment and you realise that we have the worst rate of mammal extinction in the world. I did an environmental science degree and I'd never even heard of a bettong. Maybe that makes me a very bad student, but I would argue that not many Australians have even heard of that animal. And that's just one of many, many native mammals that people aren't even aware of. And it's that lack of awareness that can then lead to these animals going extinct because no one really cares about them, there's no investment into protecting them and things like that. That for me, I guess, is what sort of helped direct the last 5 years of my work in terms of trying to educate people and show them how amazing the Australian bush is.
21% of Australia's land is forested. Reports show that in 2030, at least 3 million hectares of forest will be bulldozed in eastern Australia. This is due to the increase of the livestock industry and the government's failure to implement restrictions. Land clearing in Queensland, which has been responsible for majority of the land clearing, creates toxic runoff into the river, which then enters the ocean and pollutes the Great Barrier Reef, which may cause coral bleaching.
Countless media stories all over the world are linked to deforestation. 17th of May 2019, an article in the UK Independent read, on the 25th of April 2019, another article titled, which discusses the fact that deforestation hasn't slowed down and the biggest rates of decline are now in Africa and South America. October 2018, The Guardian spoke about the fact that Eastern Australia is named as the deforestation front in the WWF Living Planet report. The article explains that Eastern Australia has been compared to the Amazon. The report says that the decline of global population of vertebrate species has dropped 60% since 1970. But koala population has dropped significantly faster, with predictions that they could no longer exist in the wild in New South Wales by 2050.
Governments, businesses, environmental, non-environmental organisations, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community groups and individuals are all responsible for the implementation of Sustainable Development Goal 15. Government investment alone is not enough. Sustainable Development Knowledge Platform has 12 targets and goals that they are hoping to achieve globally. They include promoting the implementation of sustainability in all types of forests, restore degraded forests, and substantially increase afforestation by 2020. And integrate ecosystems and biodiversity values into local planning and development processes again by 2020. Although the Earth's forest areas are continuing to shrink, thanks to this Sustainable Development Goal, the rate of loss of forested areas has declined by 25% from 2000 to 2005.
Sustainable Business Australia has created the program Australian Business and Biodiversity Initiative, a partnership between individuals from business and non-for-profit businesses dedicating themselves to integrating sustainability and biodiversity into their policies and practices. Their aim is to raise awareness of the loss of biodiversity, degradation, and the ecosystem due to unsustainable living and business practices, giving Australian businesses the opportunity to support the development of sustainable solutions to eventually help improve the resilience and health of the environment and economy. Their goals include promoting collaborations and interlinked approaches between businesses and academia on the issue of ecosystem services, raising awareness and a level of understanding to why the issues are important. The initiative also looks at furthering the objectives of the Convention of Biological Diversity, which is an international, legally binding treaty that includes conservation of biodiversity, sustainable use of biodiversity, and the fair and equitable sharing of benefits of emerging from the use of genetic resources, and to create and advocate for the supportive promotion and investment of biodiversity within businesses.
A report written by a Union of Concerned Scientists talk about Brazil having the world's biggest reduction in deforestation and emissions. In 2014, the country's greenhouse gas emissions dropped by more than 70 million tonnes, a cut of nearly 1/3. This was due to the land use change. The beginning of the reduction started when the government created the new protection areas in the Amazon, which included indigenous reserves and sustainable use areas. The next major change was within the rapid growing soy industry. Greenpeace released a report called Eating Up the Amazon, which showed major links between the soy industry and deforestation, global warming, and water pollution. At the risk of potentially losing export markets, within weeks the soy industry responded through the two main trade parties, the Brazilian Association of Vegetable Oil Industries and the National Association of Cereal, to create the soy moratorium, with exporters vowing not to buy any soybeans grown on Amazon land that has been deforested after June 24, 2006. Various studies found that after the moratorium was introduced, there was an abrupt reduction in the deforestation around soy farming areas.
According to various research, here are 2 recommendations that will help achieve Sustainable Development Goal 15. Instead of creating new initiatives, the government should focus its funding on already established organisations that are currently working towards conservation of forests and native wildlife. It will be more cost-effective and time-savvy. Second recommendation is to create a more digital environment in the workplace, promoting paper-free companies which will cut costs, wastage, and save the forest at the same time.